know you don't really look at your email, so.
And I probably won't look at it. So Ron is going to take a look.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at it just because I want to know.
Good morning, Mike Schein.
Good morning, Walter Amarello.
This is the 100 Millionaire Podcast, 100 Millionaires Podcast. The goal is to create 100 millionaires. And the only way to do that is through financial education. There's a book called The Science of Getting Rich. And what we discovered from that book is that you cannot kill poverty by thoughts of poverty. You can't kill poverty by thoughts of the poor. The only way to kill poverty is by getting the poor or those becoming rich to think about abundance, to think about making money. And so that's what this podcast is all about, is we want you to be inspired to earn more money for yourself and keep more for yourself so it can build financial wealth, financial freedom for you and your family. That's what the 100 Millionaire mission is all about. Mike, we were just talking about Tesla. Tesla is down. You and I are both heavily invested in some Tesla. So seeing as that's an issue, right, that brings your net worth down when you're that invested. What would you say your first thought was when you saw the stock down today?
Again, well, let's start off by saying this is not financial advice.
Nope.
We're not financial planners. This is just a couple guys talking on the internet about what we believe, but please do your own research. But for me, it's a buying opportunity. For me, and again, I'm in a position where I'm not, my mortgage is paid for the month. Let's put it that way. This is not, my last dollars at all. So I'm not telling people, you got to look at your situation. But so yesterday, as the stock was going up happily, they announced that they are getting a funding of $5 billion in share purchases from banks. And what's interesting about that is that it dilutes everybody's shares. So when the stock was at 500, that might have been a significant dilution, but now that it's up around 2,500 a share, that is a very small dilution of your shares. And for me, as a long-term Tesla holder, I'm actually really excited they did this for a couple of reasons. First of all, everybody keeps talking about that Tesla is now passed all those small tests to be allowed for S&P inclusion, okay? Yep. And one of the things that a couple of the people I follow on YouTube mentioned was that because the market cap of Tesla was so big, the S&P may ask them to do some sort of a funding, kind of like this $5 billion funding. So it indicates to me that they probably said, do a stock offering at S&P, and Tesla pushed back and said, well, we don't want to do just a straight stock offering, but we will do this $5 billion vehicle that says that we can sell the stock at market value whenever we want over the next few years. And they did it, I think it was like with 7 different banks that they can sell the stock to. So it does dilute, but the stock's worth so much, it's a very small dilution. And so it indicates to me, and this is just my theory from seeing on the internet, know what's going on and doing deep dives every day into what is happening with Tesla. It indicates to me that it's the next thing we're going to find out is that they do get accepted for S&P 500 inclusion, which is significant if you don't know why, because that just means a lot of the ETFs, exchange traded funds that have to track the S&P 500 have to buy, I think the estimate is like 26 million shares of Tesla. Now this has probably already happened. They probably bought a lot of their shares, but I just think it's another step in people seeing Tesla on a regular basis.
Yeah. So
that was number one reason. Number two reason is that if you actually have this $5 billion that you can use for cash, they are building gigafactories right now. They're expanding in Shanghai, China. They are building super quickly in Berlin, Germany, and they've started in Austin, Texas, where they're going to build the Cybertruck. And I paid my $100 to order my Cybertruck in 2022. It's out there.
It's crazy that the Cybertruck is so far out.
Yeah.
Because that's really the vehicle of vehicles. So for me, I love that truck.
Yeah.
It goes against, like, the first time I saw it, I hated it. I was like,
Yeah.
no, ugly, it's bad. I've always been a truck driver. Uh,
Somebody said it looks like a doorstop.
yeah, it's a giant doorstop, right?
Yeah.
And now after seeing it, I'm like, okay. Well, actually, after driving the Model Y, now I want to drive that. Like, I want to drive the
Yeah,
Cybertrucks.
Cybertruck. You can get, I think it's a one motor. I don't understand how Tesla's motors work, but I've
Yep.
noticed in a lot of the backs of the car, it'll say dual motor,
Yeah.
like the S. So the one that I pre-ordered, and again, you just pay $100. It's pre-order, but I think they have 750,000 pre-orders at this point. So
Yeah.
I don't know if people are throwing away $100 and don't give a crap, or if these are real orders, but holy cow. If
Yeah.
they sell 1 million Cybertrucks when it comes out, that's a lot of money right there.
Yeah.
But I ordered you can go on the Tesla site, you actually get to pick the motors. So they have like one motor. So if you wanted one early, you could get the single motor Cybertruck. I think it's sometime at the end of 2021. So
Yeah.
but like I said, I don't know why I don't pull things. I don't chop wood in the woods. I don't. But I just said, well, I'm gonna get the two motor one.
How many passenger is it?
5, I believe.
5
Yes.
passenger.
Yep. So
So,
2 in the front, they're kind of like bucket seats,
yep.
and then 3 in the back for your 3 kids or
Yep.
dog or whatever else.
So then
There's
you have
actually
that for the rest of the kids.
if you want to watch, yeah, right. Um, Elon was on Jay Leno's garage
Yep.
doing a Cybertruck demonstration. They drove it, they looked at it, they talked about all the features, and interesting is the one that they were driving is like a little bit bigger than it's allowed to be. So they have to, for the ones that people are buying, they're gonna have to shrink them down a little bit because
Yeah.
they're not they're not made for the street, the one that Jay was buying, but
Yeah.
it's amazing. And just Tesla things are neat. I like camping, and they have like a camping attachment.
Yeah.
And it says because it's electric, not gas, you don't have to worry about dying of carbon monoxide poisoning. You can you can run the air conditioning all night or the heat all night and sleep in the bed.
Yep.
How cool is that? So
No, I love it. So most trucks have a camper outfit, but you're
yeah,
right. There is that whole, don't keep the truck running thing.
right.
So right now we're seeing a lot of changes in the market. We're seeing a lot of shifts. We're seeing a lot of changes in the market. Stock market seems strong. Real estate market seems strong. I was talking to some of our buddies last night, Carlos Baez and Carlos Bello.
Nice.
And Carlos has been trading currency
Okay.
and foreign exchange,
Nice.
heavily. And so we were having the conversation about where the market's going and where people should be investing, what makes the most sense. And it seems like there will be, because they both said it. It seems like there's going to be a crash in 2021, but there's also, I don't know if it's going to be 2021 or if it's going to be 2023.
Right.
And what we concluded is a flash crash in 2021, right? There's still way too many buyers in the market because it's still a deep seller's market.
Is this, are we talking real estate? Are we talking stocks
We're
or?
talking real estate.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
now we saw a crash in stocks, so real estate will follow it. It always has a little bit of an effect, but it takes a year or two, right? Even you go back to 2006, in real estate, we call the crash 2008, right? We were at the bottom in 2010. So we weren't truly at our bottom at 8, where the stock market had already recovered by the end of 8. So we had continued way deeper into it.
Yeah.
So real estate operates differently. And
What did they say about the fact that there's no inventory at all, and that there's this big fire movement which is backed by investors? I mean, I just don't. I mean, you say flash crash, maybe that's why, because the investors are just going to come in and scoop up all these properties, I guess.
Yeah. So there's enough of us out there where the deals won't be super amazing, but you will see foreclosures, right? But
Right.
even the bank foreclosures we see now are still market value. They're sold at market value. There's no steep discount in
Right.
them. So
Yeah.
it's,
That really changed. Remember in 2008, it was like fire sale, you could get anything, or
yeah,
maybe it was 2010. But then at some point, like 2017, the banks were like, um, we're not giving you a deal on these properties. We got like 10 people lined up who
yeah.
want to buy. So if you want to buy at market, yeah.
The whole, the whole market right now literally is sitting there saying, hey, like all my students are asking for foreclosures. They're like, hey, can you give me that foreclosure list? I can get it to you, but it's the same price as everything else on MLS. Just so you know,
Right. Right.
the
That's actually,
foreclosure
I
list.
should I should take that as some sort of a beacon of what's going on. When people start asking me, hey, do you know any bank that has like a list? You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? That only happens at certain times in the market. I mean, I've been doing title work since 2005. Um, so I've seen it a few times. People calling me, hey, can you get me on this bank list? Can you? And the answer is no. I cannot get you on the bank list. I don't do that kind of uh,
and
big closings. Yeah.
even attorneys don't have the ability to get you on a bank list. That's
Right.
more of
Exactly.
an asset manager, somebody who runs the assets for a bank.
Right.
So it's almost a joke that,
Nice. Braga Bridge.
oh yeah, right.
That's awesome.
Oh, River represent.
If you're gonna do that, I gotta put my background
There you go.
on. Anyways, I was watching the other night. I was watching uh, um, just a clip from The Big Short.
Oh,
You know,
nice.
and he was sitting in a sushi restaurant with a asset manager, some guy who was selling the synthetic CDOs to Merrill Lynch and talking. Oh my God, that's such a great scene. That's such a great movie. If you get a chance, if you haven't seen that movie, Big Short.
So it's a phenomenal movie.
Yeah.
So I just posted, this video is now live on Facebook, and I posted that where we're discussing why we're still buying Tesla. But I wanna jump over to, making money in your sleep, how that's still happening. And the so one, our investments are a little different right now than they were 4 years ago, right? 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I was investing heavily in real estate. That was it. I was building my net worth, and now I'm at a point where my net worth is still pretty large, but I've got a new goal for this year. It's just bigger than it was, right? That's all, because it's got some work to do. It's got to go 10x.
Yeah, because we got to get my boat.
That's right. And I want 150 units. So
Yeah, nice.
there's
You're
there's something
getting
I
there
can,
pretty quickly.
yeah, it's buying real estate is easy to us now. It's just something we do.
Yeah,
It's just a process.
that's awesome. That's awesome.
But we're looking at, because it happens every September. So New Year's resolutions, right? Everybody else comes up with their New Year's resolution,
Yeah,
like December 31st, then January 1st is supposed to start working on it. Real estate is a little slower. Like we were just talking about, real estate takes a little longer. And so I start my New Year's resolutions around September. And
nice job.
this past week, my whole mind's been like, something's been bothering me, right? It's been bothering me. And yesterday, or it was the day before, I was sitting there with Dorina, we were talking, and it just hit me, dude, I haven't set my goals for next year.
Nice.
And I was looking at my net worth, and it turns out I got to go for 5 million this year. Now, I've never done 5 million, right? I've never gone and created a net worth.
5 million net worth, you're saying?
5 million net worth.
Gotcha.
And here's the deal with every time I go after a bigger net worth number, I can't use the same tactics I used the year before. They just don't work
Right.
anymore.
What got you, what's that thing? What got you here won't get you there.
What got you here won't get you there.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I've got to look at new tools, new strategies. And that's where the stocks have come into play.
Yeah. About my dad, he's always pushing. I was talking about buying like 3 families and all this stuff. And trust me, my dad did that. but he pushes options a lot on me. He had said, yeah. So Carlos would be good people to be talking to about that.
I think it's going to happen. I talked to actually Carlos about joining our mentorship program as a coach.
Sweet.
So
It's so funny you were saying that because Haley's wife, Alexis, she posted yesterday on Facebook. She said, my first foray into options trading, 15% ROI. And I wanted to post, you should talk to Carlos and Carlos Turtle Trading.
Yeah.
But she had mentioned somebody else who had introduced her to it. So I didn't want to step on somebody's toes. But
Yeah.
if you're into options and you want to learn more about them, they seem, Carlos seem like they know their stuff. So that would be a cool place to start.
So Carlos Bello runs Turtle Trading. Carlos Baez is writing a book on landlording. So they're
cool.
partnered in properties, but they're not partnered in Turtle Trading.
Okay. So then that's Carlos Baez. Bello is the.
Bello. You got it.
He was in our little mastermind group
and we were talking
about COVID.
Yeah, the Millionaire Mastermind. So we were talking about it last night, doing another session with just all the people who've got a net worth of $1 million and getting together and figuring out what the next play is, what the next move is. So they're interested.
We know what our next play is, right?
We do. So that
private placement, go crush it.
Yep. And that's that private placement is how you start. So that all plays into how do I double 2.5 million?
Nice.
Which way harder than doubling 1.2 million, which is what I had to do last year.
Yeah, except for you and I have been talking on text about the acceleration of money.
Yeah.
And I really feel that the people who in our mentor group who are trying to get that first 100,000, that's 100,000 is a bitch, or what do you say? You say something.
Charlie Munger said it. The first 100,000 is a bitch.
Yeah, but I think that once you sort of get into the deal flow, so I submit, and since I say it, it's true for me, that it's going to be easier for you to get to 5 million than to get to 2.5 because you now have more tools, more connections. Your net worth is your network is your net worth, and you're on your way. I'm not just saying this about you, but I'm saying that to get to $1 million was a struggle and something that was all about mindset. But now I kind of see, I said this to you, I see Hecto Millionaire, which is 100 million. I see it. I actually see a path to it. And I mean, I'm not saying that to brag. I just see where it's going.
That's just reality, right?
Yeah,
if you stay at something long enough and you keep doubling, eventually you'll hit it. You're right. And thank you, Mike. Thank you for calling me out on that. It's not.
I didn't mean to call you out.
It's not difficult. It's new. So the things that I did before are not the things I can do to get to the next level.
Well, wait a sec. Let me ask you a question. You could keep just buying properties, right?
I'd have to buy a significant.
Just bought like 10 more properties, but they were over 10 units each. Wouldn't that get you there?
Nope.
Oh.
And 10 transactions is a lot more than I want to do. So I have the limiter of, do I want to kill myself this year or do I want to do it in one deal? And so the size of the deal has just gotten much more significant.
Yeah. Well, wait a second. So you don't have like systems? Every time I sit and listen to Facebook, I mean, Bigger Pockets with these people that are crushing it, they all have systems. So like they'll say things like, I don't know. I have a group, they send me the deal, I look at the deal, and then I immediately drop it into a funnel and it's all handled. And that's the end of it.
So those guys typically cap out around some number. They're building something that's stable. When you're doubling, it's very hard to stabilize at the same time.
Gotcha.
So you just got to go bigger deals.
Right. And I want to do that with you. I want to double my net worth. So. Very
good. I encourage you to do it with me. So with Ron, that's the other piece is every time I double, he doubles too.
Yeah.
We're tied together.
All right. So can Brenda double too?
Yeah.
that would be 4 times. 10x.
if she's willing to join in and do the work or do the effort, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
whenever we do it, it's so right now this year we have to go after a $5 million equity position if it's Ron and I. If
Yeah.
we and so you and Brenda would be aiming for that same element.
Yeah.
And so the equity has to be more significant. There has to be more involved. And to get to that level, you have to be thinking on that level. And so, the deal you and I are looking at right now with the private placement memorandum, it would have to now be a 7.5 million equity position for us to all hit that goal.
It's based on what I've been looking at in Georgia, that's easy.
Well, the only new element is raising 7.5 million.
Right.
That's really all it is you raise that, and that, yeah, as long as we have a share, that's our equity position.
And that's why I'm hanging out with you.
That's right.
I know that right away that you're with your coaching and with the stuff that we talked about, that's going to be an easy raise.
Yeah.
And then
It's
when I
a matter
just
of
come
doing.
with you to Colorado to be on Bigger Pockets, I'll just sit next to you and just talk about.
So I'm thinking I may be a year out for Bigger Pockets.
Yeah.
A year or two. I submitted the request. They
Did you really? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
awesome.
Ron pressured me into it. So
Yeah.
Ron
Is Ron going to go with you?
Who is? No, Ron doesn't. I mean,
He could be in the background talking about all the numbers and making fun of you.
it's entirely possible. I don't know if they bring two people on at once, but
They usually do if there's partners if they want to, but whatever. That's cool.
hold on. I will invite Ron, but he will decline. But I will still invite him.
All right, well, I'll travel with you, but not be on it. I just want to meet Josh and Brandon, and actually, it would be none of those people are even there. David
No,
Green's in San Francisco, and Brandon's in Hawaii.
And where's Josh Dorkin? He's still.
Josh is in Colorado. He's there.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Well, you meet Scott Trench, who is the writer of the book Set for Life.
Set for life.
So at 20 years old, he started doing real estate, and he retired by the time he was 27.
Bang.
And then he kept going doing other stuff that he wanted to do, and one of them ended up as the CEO of Bigger Pockets.
Of Bigger Pockets?
Yeah, so he's the CEO of Bigger Pockets, and he wrote Set for Life, which is just a great book, especially if you have young investors. Now that I'm saying this, I think that you might want to add it to your mentor program. Like, because we get so many young people that after the foundational 5 and broke to $250,000, I think that you might want to tell them to read that book, because it can show a young, not that we don't have older people in the group, but it can show a young investor a simple path to owning a bunch of real estate and retiring.
Now I got to read another book. Set for life. All right.
Scott Trench, Set for Life. Yeah, it's cool. I think it might be on our list. Might be on our 52 weeks.
It might. I'll check the website.
Yeah.
So the premise of real estate investing to build wealth is that cash flow is the secret sauce. It's what gets you out. But Ron and I have discovered that, and over the years, and we're probably the most honest investors you'll ever meet. The cash flow is not that significant, right? The amount of units you have to gain significant cash flow is insane, unless you're managing the units yourself, which is not retirement. That is not what we promote or condone, because it's very difficult to scale if you're managing all the units yourself. You stop wanting more units.
Sure.
So at 60 units, we're at 60 units now. I think we've got 7 or 8 vacancies, but that's because they're brand new units. We haven't filled them yet. We have a tenant that's taking 6 automatically. And as soon as the refinance is done, we got 2 units that we're converting over from residential to either commercial to residential, or we'll rent them out. We got white box them and rent them out as commercial. So we've got
what did you say? What did you say? White box? What was the word you said?
White box. Yes, that's when you got a commercial unit, you just knock down all the walls and paint the whole building white.
Oh, cool. Never heard that expression before.
Yep, scrape up the floor, white box. Let them put their own flooring down. Let them design their own walls.
Gotcha.
Yep, it's we do that in commercial. We don't have too many commercial units, so it's one of those pieces that it's not common for us. Finding tenants is not our forte. So anyway, we're looking at increasing the value. That's why we buy so much property. It's just to hold it over time so that eventually the loans are amortized, the appreciation, if there's appreciation sets in, the depreciation allows to keep a little bit more of the money. And the cash on cash returns way better when you buy for cash flow than when you just buy for appreciation. So we've got these appreciation plays, and we're starting to look at this $5 million net worth increase for each of us. So it's, or that includes both of us. And it's almost as if a big appreciation play is where we have to start moving. And we're looking at, is it going to be Boston, right? Because that's the easy play for us. Or are we going to a new market in the South that makes more sense? And
New market.
new market, because that's where we want to be. We want to be in the South anyway.
Yeah. And those bigger properties are in the South anyway.
They are. So that's
why I said I have to talk to Diami about it, because because he gets those type of deals, and yeah, I think that's where we need to go, and that's something that we can all benefit from the same.
Exactly. That's the limiter up here in the north, is that we can't get as much cash flow per dollar. Like, we just don't have the size of buildings up here. Right. If they do exist, they're owned, and they're all federal funding, right? So it's HUD housing or one of those programs.
What are we going to be offering people on these?
Can't discuss it. So that is something you can't discuss on a podcast or in a medium like this. So Regulation B. Okay. Yeah, totally. So can't raise capital in a broad market like this.
Okay.
With Regulation D, what we're doing.
Nice catch. So Reg D, private placement versus syndication, is that same thing, or is it same thing? Okay.
Same thing. So that's something, once I've read all the regulations, I'll know what I can promote, what I can say, what I can't say. I just know that for the 12% return on investment, I can promote that anywhere, because that's something I guarantee. It's something I will do. That's interest only.
That's just on your own investments, you're saying? Gotcha.
That's our own investments. That's us borrowing money as lender and helping people become lenders, learning how to lend money. On this, it's not even partnering, it's syndication. So that's something that, I've avoided it for so long. Syndication is just one of those pieces that you bring a lot of people in. There's a lot of headaches. There's a lot of other people's opinions, other people's money on the line. Whereas what we've always done is the bank's money on the line. One person to impress, one person to work with, simplifies the whole transaction. But in order to get to the size that we're looking for, we'll probably end up having to syndicate, and it'll help us buy more property, move a little faster. In the flash crash, bringing it all back together, it's all about that flash crash in 2021. Stacking up cash, getting more opportunities available. And for Ron and I, if we can get into these next properties doing the same thing we've always done, just bringing in a couple of interest partners where it's just we're paying interest to them, that's the ideal, right? It allows us to build way faster with less units. We can get higher equity positions with less units, with less headaches. The deals are not as hard in that 20 to 40 unit range. And so that's what we're leaning towards, because it's just way simpler. It's way faster for us. But the economies of scale come with syndication. And we're teetering on that precipice. We're probably setting it up, but I don't know that the syndication is the easiest path to that net worth. It may actually be something in between, and we'll be building the syndication for next year, building it, prepping it for the year to come. But a lot of these investments take a year to raise the capital. They take a good 6 months, a year to raise the capital, to find the deal. So this syndication may be looking at 2021 or 2022, early 2022 as the actual date of closing something.
I was just curious with, because if you look at Dan Zatofsky's website, he talks about that he was reliant on banks. Yeah. And then when the banks shut down and stopped issuing credit, he was shut down, And he said if you look at his webpage, he says, I'll never do that again. And his whole thing is teaching you how to get private investors. I don't know
Yeah.
why their money doesn't dry up if you have some sort of a crash, but at the same time, it
Because
seems
you're holding it. So
yeah, seems like that's a better way to go is to
it
get
truly
a
is.
bunch of individuals. So
The problem with it, and the reason Dan can do this on such a scale that he does, is he buys buildings under 100,000. He's buying small buildings, so you can put one or two investors on a building on a
gotcha,
purchase. So
gotcha.
he's not buying large deals. He's built a large funnel that can produce a large amount, but he's not doubling his net worth every year.
Gotcha.
He's just got a massive machine that's run at a site, because he literally built a monster of a machine, right? He owns 600 units. I think they do 100 or 200 deals a year. Like he's just built this monster machine, and that it took him years to do. He wasn't doing that overnight, and
Right.
so over time you get to that kind of scale. We're not we're not in the need for that position yet, and to build that scale, we're not trying to rush it. We're going down the process, taking time, uh, doing it in the order that it makes sense to do it in.
So let me ask you something. So if I
Yeah,
can find, just for me personally, because it's
yeah,
my podcast, F it.
that's right. Mike X.
So if I can find like a 20 to 40 unit,
Yeah,
um, that's something that you know how to get funding for. So like,
all day.
okay, there you
Yeah,
go. 'Cause
20 to 40 units.
I can find the properties. I know I can find 20 to 40.
That's right.
I mean, I just do. I have a couple of different sources for that type of stuff. So,
And what's nice about 20 to 40,
mhm.
it's $1 million, right? The down
Okay.
payment's $1 million. That's easy to raise. That's easy to come up with. And especially if you have, the equity already. So it's easier to make those.
Mhm.
The problem is you got to do two of them, right? To get that,
Right.
for us, like double the net worth, it's like you got to do a couple of these,
Gotcha.
but
Gotcha.
the competition shows up at 100 units. So there's this little
Right.
in between of how do you do it? What's it look like? So I'm still mapping it out. Haven't figured it
Yeah.
out. I set the goal every year, and sometimes it takes me a month or two to figure out the detailed plan of what the next year is going to look like.
Right.
Um, the reason of bringing it up is, everybody who's listening, start setting a plan for your 2021 New Year's resolution now, so that you don't look like a chump when 2021 shows up. So you're
And
not.
I would add to that that I would read the book The 12-Week Year,
Oh
and I
yeah,
got you another book. But and this guy who wrote the book was he was doing a lot of work for like Fortune 500 insurance companies, and he would go and coach them and talk to them. And what he found was that people in January start making their plans, and by February or March they've blown off all their plans, and then sometime in November they have this big push, and then they end up doing a great fourth quarter. But if you turn a year into 12 weeks, or which is a quarter, there's a lot more urgency, which means on January 1st, you're looking at what do I need to do to accomplish by March 31st. And
yeah,
in my opinion, even about what you're saying, Walter, if you did 12-week year and used his documents, he has like a website that has all sorts of planners and pieces of paper, stuff like that, and short money, like $10 to use his forms or just use a blank piece of paper. But the bottom line is that if a year is only 12 weeks, they found in all these companies with all these salespeople that there would be a ton more accomplished,
yeah.
and goals were like crushed by March 31st because it's just human nature to kind of push stuff off if you're not planning that way.
Yeah,
So,
you're looking at each quarter now as if it was an entire year. You're getting
right.
4 times the production out of the people in the room.
Yeah. And if you
So
want to
it's
get inspired, read that book because it's a very quick book, kind of like you said, the Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, how you can kind of crush it really quickly. This book is not like it's not like Shakespeare or Hemingway or something like that. It's just very simple, right to the point. You kind of get it, but it's still a good story. So yeah, 12-week year, good book.
It's it's
So
easy enough. So
yeah.
I started this the podcast description as "Make money in your sleep." Tesla is down, but we're still buying. Find out why.
Yeah.
Real estate is still my biggest position. 100 Millionaires Podcast with Mike Schein. And the reason I said it that way is we're still making money in our sleep, right?
Right.
The coaching company is still making money, whether or not I guess I kind of have to show up on Saturday. If I don't, like, people might be disappointed.
Yeah,
But I
right.
could easily have Mike Schein run Saturdays. You've done
Thank
one
you.
before us before.
Appreciate that.
And Tesla being down, this is a buying opportunity for us. Like, we
Right.
have extra cash sitting on the sidelines. In fact, I deployed most of my cash yesterday when it was down. So today, as it's down, I'm like,
See it further down. That was one thing that
oh,
Chicken Genius said was that, just dollar cost average and buy in. So I bought some yesterday
yeah,
and I'm buying some more today. Hey, speaking of which, I was watching Chicken Genius be interviewed on another show, and
yep,
I have to send it to you. He basically did what you're doing now. He had all these young investors and he turned them into millionaires. And it
yeah,
was through his coaching. It was pretty amazing. He's just like
that's
a regular down to earth guy, and he doesn't really do the big things anymore, but he has a big following, and it's cool. I was thinking of you when
yeah.
he said he was making millionaires out of these young people. It was awesome. So it's
Thanks,
cool.
Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. It really is simple, and we won't do this forever, So we're always putting replacements in place
Right.
because at the end of the day, like, I got bigger things I want to go do, and
Right.
you know, this is a it's like you got to pay it forward. You got to pay it forward at this level, and I'll pay it forward at the next level, and keep paying it forward at each level. But it's not an entire life is not just run by doing one thing. You gotta always grow and get to that next level
Sure.
and do more.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So yeah, buying more. What I told Dorina this morning, she's like, "Well, I have some extra cash. Should I buy?" I was like, "Well, yes, extra cash. Then that's the answer. Go ahead,
Yeah.
knock yourself out."
Yeah. But again, I don't know what your time horizon is, but my time horizon is 10 years. So the 2020 to 2030 is going to be Tesla's decade. It's
Yeah,
just, it's no doubt in my mind how far ahead they are of the other EVs, and the fact that the electric vehicle market is just going to keep
yeah,
growing, and also the solar and the battery. Everything we do involves batteries, cell phone battery improvement, cars, all that stuff, planes, boats. It's all
yeah.
it's all part of it. And
I've got for the next year or so, every year putting on a new company. Every year, putting on a new company that I can obsess with. I've got EXPI. I've got Tesla. I don't really need much more than that at the moment.
right,
And Tesla, I'll continue to add my position to because it's all house money anyway. I made it all through
right,
Tesla. So
nice
it's like
job.
I have no reason not to adding that position.
Yeah,
Um, I may just shift away from adding to it if I find something better, but
yeah,
that position will continue to grow as long as Tesla's growing. Um,
sure. There's
my
there's another
for it,
company that I love. Sorry, I interrupted you. Were you?
yeah. My time horizon's undetermined. I just won't close the position. I have no reason to.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm the same way. They keep innovating, and they say the competition's coming, but the problem is that from everything I watch, and I watch a lot of different analysts on YouTube, so you can make fun of me if you say, you get your stock information from YouTube, but the deep dives that individual YouTube channels take on, like battery technology, and like the other day I was watching an hour on just battery chemical setups, and what makes different batteries more. I mean, it was it was dry, but I had to watch it because I really want to understand the companies that are coming up based on
Yeah.
the new. Which is funny that I said dry, because the technology is dry battery technology too. So it's not just boring, but it's dry. So it's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool. Yeah.
So So you're doing the research, right? You're
Yeah.
you're an investor doing the research. You're doubling down on something that makes sense. People right now, I believe, should be sitting on cash until they know it's a good deal, right?
Right.
I strongly am promoting sitting on cash, holding strong cash positions. The investments that we're doing are 100%. These things are bread and butter for us. We've been doing them for years. It's
Nice.
easy. The other thing I want to talk about today is credit card debt. Pay it down. Get rid of it. I'm about to wipe the rest of mine out
Oh my
with one
God.
more flip. So
Absolutely. If you have credit cards that actually charge you interest, I'm not
yep,
talking about the 18 months zero interest. That's amazing to do things
yeah.
like go to Home Depot and fix a house. But if you're paying, Brenda and I have never ever carried any sort of. We pay it at the end of every month for like our home expenses. We never because it's like what 24% or I don't even know
It's
what.
24%.
Yeah,
So
it's
people should
insane.
be more like you, Mike.
Well, this
But
is
here's
that Dave
my debt.
Ramsey. I'm not taking credit for this. That's like Dave Ramsey. Get out of yeah, full money
Uh,
makeover.
full money makeover.
Yeah.
I did go 150,000 in credit card debt. At the beginning of 2020, I had 150 in credit cards stacked up, 24% interest,
Oh wow.
22% interest, and it had been a zero. I had 26 credit cards, 0%.
I
Crazy
love that.
system. And it worked. It did help me buy a
Yeah.
lot of real estate. It bought me a lot of coaching programs that helped me move to the next level.
Yeah.
What ended up happening was I finally said I'm done. I'm done. I was paying $6,000 a month in minimum payments.
Minimum
That's minimum.
payments. Oh God.
That's not
Wait,
that's not going to pay down.
you sound like you have a plan. Like you're an investor. You said you bought real estate and you bought
Yeah.
coaching, and it was all to get you where you are. I'm talking about consumers, the people that
Oh no,
take the credit card and go to Walmart or Target or wherever they
can't
go
live off
and
my
buy
card.
buy a bunch of crap. And then also, actually, I'm listening because of you to the Thin Green Line this week while I'm driving
Oh
around.
yeah,
I had a closing in
great.
Pawtucket, and he was talking about Darien, Connecticut, which is like 3 stops outside of New York City. And
Yep.
even though these people are super rich, they were doing the same stuff. They were buying $3.1 million house that they could barely afford, and then taking any extra money on a refi and going to Cancun, not Cancun, someplace nicer than that. Um, yeah, so
Because they
those
were
are
rich, not wealthy.
consumers. Yeah, rich, not wealthy. Exactly.
So what the moral of the story is, I got one last flip left to do. So I only owe 25,000 now. It's been a year. I've been
Yeah.
paying I've been paying it down like a lot. A couple flips. Just anything that I make, I toss it in that and paying it down to the point where now my income is this. My income can pay down $150,000 in credit card debt, and that's a new level of income. Next year,
Awesome.
that already exists, whether the debt's there or not.
It's almost like
It's
getting a raise.
Yeah, it's like a raise. Yeah,
Yeah.
once that's not there, that's money back into investment.
Yeah. It's brilliant.
And so I'm setting
Brilliant.
that financial goal to increase my stock portfolio this time. The stocks are slower money. Like I've never been, even the money I've made in Tesla, like even the money I've made in EXP, I have had massive gains over the last 3 months and absolutely, doubled my position.
Yeah.
If I'd been smarter and moved right, I would have tripled my position, or actually you're 5 times your position. So on some
5x.
of your,
5x.
so there's some plays that when done properly really can be that big move.
Right.
And that's one thing that real estate has not done for me. It has not 5x my money in a year.
Right.
And so I'm looking at that now and saying, okay, like it does. And now it's tough to call whether a stock's going to do this or not. And by the time they've already done it, they're wiped out. Now they'll double your money, which is still a good return. But it's this awareness and being able to spread out the wealth enough where
Mhm.
that 5x would make a good enough return, catch it fast enough. It's
What
super
what
gambling.
what book were we chatting about on text where he's talking about surges and
That's the Millionaire booklet by Grant Cardone,
oh yeah,
Surges
yeah,
and Increments.
Yeah.
Earning income surges and increments is the key to building wealth. You really, there's no way around it that you've got to stack up some money here, then you can split that and stack up money here, then you split that and you stack up money here,
Yeah.
and it's progressive. It becomes more and more, but there's surges, and as your mindset grows,
Yeah.
there's a program I've never released. Right, there's a $25,000 coaching program that I've never charged anybody for, because in my head, I just was not at that level to charge it. Up here, like I've had people ask for the coaching, but I'm like, no, I don't do that. So it's a whole other income stream, and that's what Grant's talking about. Deals that are 50-unit deals. Like his first real estate deals were 50-something units, and
Yeah.
I think Point Loma, California, right? He did 2 40 or 50-unit deals back to back within 3 months after not doing any deals ever.
Such a great story about him going to San Diego, and as everybody was moving out of California and just snapping up properties. Just brilliant.
So
Yeah.
there's a lot of ways to get wealthy. There's a lot of ways to build wealth. There's a lot of ways to spend it. There's a lot of ways to get rid of it and lose it. So don't be rich, be wealthy, and make money in your sleep. Right? That's a constant goal. Is how can I take something I've already got, whether it's knowledge or money, how do I take this and put it into something that's going to grow no matter what?
Right.
And
that's what I love about the real estate. We have 5, and we're about to close on a 6th property, and it's and like the older ones, obviously there's a little bit of maintenance because we self-manage, but they've stabilized so much that we don't spend a lot of time doing a lot on these properties, and they're paying down, except for one, they're paying down the mortgage. I've got like a private lender on one of them that I haven't refied yet. I'm just waiting for my taxes to be done for this year, and then we'll refi that against that one too. But I just love the way that is making money in your sleep. Like they're paying down the mortgage, tax benefits, all that stuff. And I don't know if the stock market is in your sleep because it's only open when you're, well, unless you're buying in Australia, but it's
which some of us do.
It's the richest man of Babylon. It's talking about rather you working, it's your money working for you. So that's the key, is just to have 6, 7 streams of income, have those streams, doing stuff like you with your real estate broker stuff. You're referring deals, and then you're not handling that. Somebody's just sending you a check. That's just brilliant. I love that.
Yeah.
It's just,
it's 7 streams of income. I do officially have all 7. When I wrote the book,
nice.
To $250,000, that got me the 7th stream.
I'm at my office, so I don't have it. Hey, nice chair.
I got right there. So
that's a nice chair. Is it like a gaming chair you got?
Yeah, gamers know what they're doing, right?
Yeah, right. My son Noah has one similar. Yeah.
They got aeration in here. There's comfort involved.
That's awesome.
So this book was income flow number 7. So royalties. That was the one that kept eluding.
Nice job.
I didn't have royalties in it. It was in the back of my head. Like, how do you get royalties? How do you get royalties? You got to publish a book.
Yeah. Well, so
that was stream 7.
You could also make up different streams, like, because I say, like, I lend money out of my self-directed Roth IRA.
That's interesting.
So that's a stream, right? But yeah, if you're going to all call them interest, then it's not going to work because.
Well, they're all interest.
Well, I'm just saying they're from different. Like there was one guy on Big Pockets who said he had 250 streams of income, and I'm like, what? It's like, but every single house he owned, he called a stream of income because I guess 250 houses were all paying him interest, or paying him rent rather. So yeah.
And so this is how it works. You got the 7 plates, right? There's the 7 forms of income. Mm-hmm. And then from those 7, you pick the one you really like.
Can you list them for people watching?
Yeah. Well, give me a second.
I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'm assuming somebody's saying, what the hell is he talking about?
All right. So you got active income.
Yeah.
Active income comes from your own effort. This is you
Right.
you have to physically do something in order to earn income. There's active,
I'm gonna write these down.
and then there is dividend income, which you hear me talk about all the time when I'm talking about my REITs.
Mhm.
Dividend income is a
Apple
stock
Apple gives
paying.
Apple gives a dividend.
Do they? What is it? 1%?
All right, let's not make fun of it. Let's see. Hang on. Hang
So
on.
you got
Let's see what
dividend
I have.
income that comes from a stock.
Yeah.
Then you have rent income that comes from real estate. You have profit income that comes from a business. Profits are from a business, and a business is something that's running without you. If you're in it, that's active income. If you're your manager or your CEO, that's active income. If you're earning profit from a business, that's actual profit income. It's different. Then there's interest, which is money you make off of money you've lent.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's royalties, which is money you make off of something you've created and sold. And then there is capital gains. Capital gains, which is our big play. That's the one we like the most. That's the money you make off of selling a business or selling real estate. So when you look at it, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I nailed them by memory. Love that. Ooh, there was a point.
Read them one
Couldn't do
more
it.
time for me because I was checking the dividend of Apple.
What is Apple's dividend? Is it 1%?
0.61%.
I can't. That won't even pay for my margin. So not
It's a
gonna do
active
it.
income, dividend income. What was after that?
So you got active income, and this is how I started. I'll go through the order that I actually started in life. It was
Sure.
active income, and then it was rent income. Then I went into dividends, and then profits, and then capital gains, then interest. Although I probably had interest my whole life, just in savings accounts, which not
Right.
sexy. In fact, that was my first form of income after active, if I'm being honest, when I was 14 years old. But then there was capital gains and royalties. Those are the 7 streams. Those are the official only 7 ways to make money.
Nice.
And then from that, you go and you pick one, and you can have multiple streams from one of those. Like rent, for example, you could have 200 units that are paying you rent. You can have 10,000 shares that are paying you dividends. You can have a company or 2 or 3 or 4 companies that are paying you profits.
Right.
Active income, you can have multiple clients that are paying you. Let me see. Yeah, interest, multiple loans, royalties, multiple books, multiple brands, and capital gains for sure, like we do. We do multiple flips every year,
Awesome.
paying capital gains. So there's a lot of different ways to diversify your income, but I get one that isn't like, so what's nice about these, every single one of these, will it pull up?
Yep.
There it is.
That's it. Nice job.
Every single one of those is, the A stands for active. You don't need to know more about that one. Every single one of the other 6 is passive. The only active one is the one at the top that everybody knows about. You just want to learn one of the other 6. Just learn one.
Right.
And like go hard on that one, whatever it is. I just happen to build a business that allows me to do all 7. So it's
awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, why not?
I
Mike,
have to write a book. I have to write a book.
There it is.
Get royalties. Either
It's
that
time to write a book.
or be in a movie. I could be in a movie.
You could be in a movie. In fact, you could also franchise a business. Franchise a business, you get royalties that way too.
There you go. Cool.
Franchise a brand. Yeah. There's ways, dude. There's so many ways to do it. There's so much money to be made. If you're not a millionaire at this point, it's because you haven't been focused on $1 million.
Right.
Spend 3 to 5 years with us. Focus on $1 million. We'll get you there. This Saturday, we're going to be talking about something. I don't know what it is. Let me see. I haven't had to write the course yet, so.
Oh, there you go. I think I have it listed
usually
on here.
That Friday.
Hang on a second. Let's see. We had broke to $250,000. Point is not to work; it's to generate income.
Oh, dude,
Oh,
this is my book. All right. Yeah, this is a good
Wealth
one.
Principle 32.
Wealth Principle 32 will be this Saturday. So the point
Sweet.
is not to work, it's to generate income. The book of the week will be my book, Broke to a
Lo-
Quarter Million.
I love that. You know, we live in New England where the Puritans were the ones who founded this area. So everybody thinks you have to work and be stoic and be miserable, work, 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 you know, like work for 50 years and then retire and die 6 years later, right?
Yeah.
Die
Yeah,
six
you
years later,
die
isn't that the
65.
average? And now that we're a little bit more further along from when the Mayflower came, we realize that you don't have to do that. You should read Richest Man in Babylon, talking
Yep.
about having money work for you, not you doing the active income. That's
Yeah.
that's
Well,
huge.
even Mike, you had a experienced attorney yesterday. We sat down with Brendan, and he even said it to you. He was like, Mike, you got to get out of those closings.
That's
Telling you, Mike, go make profit income. Profit income.
yeah, yeah. We're getting there.
Yeah.
We're getting there.
Yeah, it's very close.
Yeah,
And
awesome.
I still every so often jump into a company to increase the income. That's just
That's
what we do
awesome.
as entrepreneurs. You jump in, go
Yeah,
in, increase that income, and then every year I'll take my 3 months off. Yeah, it's coming
it's
up.
sort of an interesting thing about being an attorney is that you spend so much time getting your license that it's hard to let go. It's almost a freedom to not have the degree, because I see like young people who just move to different parts of the country on a whim and just say, "Here, I want to do this," and they don't feel some sort of like guilt or obligation to stay in a job because they got this degree. I just think that that's
Samantha Schein, like
yeah,
your daughter
yeah.
who's living in California right now.
She is on this island called Catalina Island, and she's working in an ice cream shop. And it's like more power to her because she has, you know, stock investments and she has passive income working, and she's still young, so she's just finding her way. And you know, for what? So you can get into a cubicle, and you know, that's just not her. That's her.
It's 100% not Sam. She's
Yeah.
vegan all the way too. She's supporting the vegan movement.
It's really
Yeah,
nice
I
to see you go with the vegan sushi yesterday at the restaurant.
it was fun. I like new
Yeah.
experiences. So
It didn't affect you. Didn't sit there and say, "Man, I missed the tuna," did you?
no, it was cool. No,
Yeah,
I love seaweed salad already. So that
yeah,
was
that was huge.
I was like, oh, I always forget. When I go to get sushi, I always forget the seaweed salad. So
That's
that
funny
was
when people were asking me when I first turned vegan. They're like, "What do you eat?" And like I was in a panic for the first couple of weeks, and I'm like, "Pasta,
what do I eat?
pasta." I mean, like every
In
person,
trouble.
pasta without like as long as you don't get egg noodles is vegan. So you know,
Yeah.
it's not as it's a little daunting at first, but then when you realize that half the stuff
Like
is already vegan, so
we did not nail our goal of 20-minute podcast today.
oh mother.
We are way off.
Hey, well we can end. It's all good.
So we
I
gave it a
feel like
shot.
we added value today, so we can.
I hit the goal of all I wanted to do was talk about making money in your sleep, why we're buying Tesla,
Yeah,
and why real estate's still my biggest position. So we hit
yeah.
all those topics.
And not only that, but we talked about the 7 streams of income too. That was a
Stevie Stream's income was a freebie. We should
yeah.
probably do an entire episode on the 7 streams, how they look.
Yeah.
Even right now, as we're talking about, I'm like, oh, there's one stream that I'm really pushing hard on right now
Yeah.
that I want to see at a whole level. I've never gotten to this level before. And oh, do
Which
you want to
one's
know what
that?
it is? Yeah.
Which one's
I realized
that?
I set that up.
What,
So
which
it's profit. So
one? Oh
I'm
yeah.
looking to get my profit up to a $40,000 a month mark, which is I've gotten it to 15, 20 relatively consistently.
Nice.
And then I let it go for a little while. That was the brokerage when we were running it. I had a 15, 20,000 a month profit.
It's
And I've
awesome.
got it down. So now we're re-ramping, and I'm going for that $30,000-$40,000 mark on the profit side. And so I'm not in the business whatsoever. I'm really not. But
Yeah.
every so often, like I'll sit there with Doreen and I'm like, okay, like this system, let's do this. How do we scale that? Can you handle 100 buyers a week? And like I'm asking these questions, and so sometimes I'm like a little bit involved in the business.
Yeah.
But I'm so disconnected from what these agents are actually doing, like how much they can actually handle. And so every so often, like I did an open house the other day. I barely did an open house the other day, but I was there.
You're hanging out with
And
Karina.
I was hanging out with Doreen, right? So it's some of my tenants. So it was on one of my buildings.
That's
I
awesome.
meet some of my tenants, so it was cool.
That's awesome.
Um, but like that like going back and forth in it, and like I'm gonna go after my dividends again. Like that's one I dropped off some of the dividends to go after capital gains.
Oh yeah.
But after talking to Carlos, they were asking me what I'm thinking about the REITs. And then you asked me too, because I'll be shifting a lot of my funds back into REITs in probably a month, because once the memorandum lets go, once the government says, yeah, you can evict, REITs are going to go back up in value. And I'm just picking the key ones that I know are going to double.
Nice job.
And there's a couple that I feel really confident about. The mortgage-backed securities are already, they've hit their money. They're top of the market again. They're already come back. They recovered fast. As soon as the government said, yep, we're backing mortgages, those mortgage-backed securities came back. The only thing left now are the multifamily REITs, office space REITs, and commercial REITs, and any REITs that were big into school or like school buildings or entertainment, like parks, things like that. So those REITs still have some time. They're all at half value, right? They're all at 50% their value, so they're going to come back.
Nice.
It's just, when are they coming back? And I've pulled out of some of them just to get that appreciation plan, other things.
Right.
And I'm wishing I hadn't pulled out.
If you didn't, you would have missed
made the
a
game.
big move.
Yeah. And I made all my gains on the mortgage-backed REITs. So I made a lot of money on those as they were coming up. And then I shifted over to Tesla and EXP.
Yep.
And I'll hold those positions, but I want to get back into some, BRG, pick those back up, the multifamilies again.
Right. That's
a
cool.
dividend back. Yeah. So it's make money in your sleep. You can do it in real estate. You can do it in stocks. You can do it in interest payments. Like Mike Schein's got interest payments. I pay interest on dozens of loans. We're looking to do a seller finance note on a couple of our buildings. So if you're interested in buying a piece of real estate, overpaying for it and paying the interest, I have no problem. If you can't get the financing, that's an option that we'll offer to people. Not on our bigger buildings, on smaller buildings, because we know that a bigger building, they can't manage it. If they can't come with a down payment, they can't manage the building. And we're fully aware of that. So
that's awesome.
Like a nice little starter program.
Yeah.
So increase the interest. Let's see, profit. That's just going to be through the education company is technically active, right?
Yeah.
Now I'm only working 2 hours a week on the education company, the Monday night and the Saturday. That's where I sell on Sunday. We do the training, sell on Sunday. Monday we perform. The rest of the week.
That's a little tricky because you love what you do. So if
technically,
if it's something that you love what you do, is it? I mean, I get that it's active, but it's kind of a choice, because you said to Ron, when you make all this money, what do you want to do? And you just said you wanted to go all over the country and continue to present from the stage and do all that kind of stuff because you love doing it. So
I just want to teach better products. I want to teach better programs, like that is my mission. But
I'm just saying that's not, you're never going to give that up. It was like, back to Scott Trench. Okay. So Scott was young. He didn't have many expenses. He didn't have a wife. He didn't have children or anything like that. So for him to get to a point where his passive income was covering what his active income did was a very small amount. It's like $3,000, I think, a month. But he kept working. He kept working when he could have sat on a beach. I mean, but that's the whole point, is that if you're doing something you love, I get that it's technically active income, but you're at the place where everybody wants to be, because everybody wants to have money coming in, not worry about the money, and go do something that they absolutely love. I mean, and even I have that with the closings. I love being with the people. I've met so many nice people in the last, with all these refis. They're just awesome people. So I love that part, So it's kind of,
yeah, you're living your dream, Mike. There's no reason for us, there's no reason to change too much about our lives. It's just little tweaks here and there.
Right.
Like when I teach, I can teach in front of 10 people. I'm just as happy as when I teach in front of 100, just the paycheck changes. So it's,
That's
for me,
funny.
it's, I'll go in front of 100. I'd rather go in
Yeah.
front of 1,000, right? I love the concept, the feel of it, the education I'm delivering is all the same. It's just the paycheck increases with the amount of people in the room.
But at a certain point, you're gonna have so much money, like hecto millionaire, 100 million, and I'm assuming you're still gonna want to go out and teach people, even though it's not.
Of course.
It's
Well,
not.
I also want to put housing in space, so I want to at least live a month in space. So that's I like to do.
Cool. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
so,
cool.
and we'll see.
Hang
Maybe
on.
I want more than a month. I don't know, but I gotta know. I gotta feel it first. So I'll keep
sit
teaching.
down and figure out what my crazy outlandish dream is.
Yeah, I feel like that's like the one where it is possible. Like they're working on it. There are technically people living in space right now in the space station.
Right.
The bill to do it would be a lot, but maybe if I can build something valuable for NASA that they're like, hey, why not? You hooked us up. They get it cheap enough. So, I'm just going to piggyback on what Elon's doing and what Virgin Atlantic's doing.
Yeah. Virgin Galactic. Yeah.
Virgin Galactic. Yeah.
I just was cracking up because I could just picture like the same issues you have with subcontractors. Like the siding guy didn't show up.
I want to be the sighting guy for NASA. Like that's my thing. I want to be like, okay, my guys are going to weld on the metal plates.
Okay, but the question is that you're going to answer the phone. Like if I call and say, hey, it's Thursday. Where are you?
Text me, please. Just text only.
You know those subcontractors, like the bad ones, not the good ones, in your call.
Yeah.
And they never return your calls.
They're never available when you need them.
Right.
So that's not our contractors, though. Our guys are the best.
That's right. Rock stars.
We went by our flip. We're doing a flip over on 176 Anthony Street in Fall River. So you can drive by, check out our progress. And it looks like we got a dumpster over there. By the way, if you drive by and you don't see our guys working, text me. Let me know. so I can shoot them a little love letter, a little love note.
It's funny.
So that building should be looking good pretty soon. We drove by. There's a dumpster in the yard. So progress is being made. We're going to clean it out. And then pest control should be stopping by. Yep. Just to make the neighborhood like a little nicer. Then there's a house across the street, which our buddy Jordan Sylvia should be helping us get. At 177 Anthony Street is currently off market, probate issue. I want it. So if you know who owns it, tell them to sell it to me. I think that's how it works. Mike Schein, wrap us up, brother.
Well, this was the perfect episode to talk about this. Massive income from passive income. That's my whole thing.
Mike's whole mission is massive income from passive income.
Yep.
When you have a choice, always work the best. Cheers to your success.
Peace.
Peace. 100 Millionaires Podcast signing off.